What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So when looking for stocks or ETFs to invest in for the future and to have a lot of potential down the line, it's very hard to look past clean energy. So in today's video we're going to look at my clean energy ETF in the form of the iShares Clean Energy ETF, ticker symbol INRG or ICLN, depending on what currency you're investing in. So today we'll have a look at how it's currently performing, my current position within this ETF, and we'll have a look at some catalysts and portfolio update characteristics for this ETF as well. So with all that being said, let's dive right on into today's video. So here we are on Trading 212, where we currently have €10,861 in this account overall. Of that, we're up 21.72%, or just under €1,890. Now, if you're new around here, the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF is one of 33 holdings within this blue chip diversified portfolio. Again, kind of ironically enough, even though I have a lot of praise for this ETF, it's probably one of the 3 of 33 that's currently in the red in my portfolio, which you'll have a look at now in a few seconds. Now, when I say one of my worst performing ETFs, it's only down about 4.4%, which actually isn't a whole lot in the grand scheme of things at all. We have 3 stocks in my energy pie here, where we have 850 invested overall, and we're up 6.8%. We have the 2 older school kind of energy stocks in the form of ExxonMobil, which is up 67.24%, and Chevron is up just under 23%. Now again, the iShares ETF here, it takes up most of this €850, with €567 of this money invested within this ETF. Now, I made kind of points in prior videos why I haven't invested further into this ETF at the moment, even though it's down 4.4%. Now, the main reason is because we can see here it's overweighted in this portfolio pie. €567 of the 850 is in this ETF. So that's why I haven't invested further. However, I did have a trigger point. I said in prior videos that if it does drop below 10%, I'll start to load up even more, although it is overweighted at this moment in time. Now, it was only recently enough when it was down nearly 20% in this portfolio. So all in all, it actually is kind of performing a lot better over the last few months. Now we'll have a look at how it's performing on the 3-month and 6-month charts. So we can see here on the left that the iShares Global Clean Energy ETF here, we have just over 50 shares at 50.7, around about 4.43%. Again, one of 3 in my overall portfolio is currently in the red, so I'm not too concerned about that at all. It's only down about €26. At this moment in time, we can see on the 3-month charts behind me here that it's currently trading at about £9.53, and my average cost is currently about £10.30. On the 1-year chart, it's up about 41.27%. 3 months, it's up 4.72%. And on the 1-week chart, it's still up 1.82%. We can also see here on the 1-year chart, dotted line is currently my average cost or average price, which we mentioned earlier is about £10.30 at this moment in time. Now again, it had highs of nearly 14 or 15 pounds a share. So that was kind of mainly around the time of the presidential election, and when kind of the clean energy was the kind of popular sector at that time. However, long term, it's very, very hard to look past clean energy because it's a no-brainer really that it is going to take over the likes of ExxonMobil and the Chevrons of the world because it's renewable. So again, one of the main reasons why I like to hold this ETF, which we'll see in a few seconds as well once we look at the characteristics of this ETF, is that it's diversified across all subsectors within this sector. Now with clean energy, there's a lot of numerous things going on in the background. Everything from solar to wind to hydro, etc. So that's why I like to hold an ETF, because it's an up and coming sector still. And then it kind of, like, if you just invest in one of these kind of subsectors, it can easily go bust as well as it could peak as well. But I prefer to have a kind of blanket approach, especially within these kind of clean energy sectors. And in my personal opinion, this ETF is definitely the way to go for this. So now let's have a very brief look over some characteristics or key facts. We can see here, even up on screen, that the current net assets is over 5.8 billion, which is a huge amount of money by any stretch of imagination. We can kind of see here that it's domiciled here in Ireland as well. It's also a semi-annual rebalance or reshuffle. Now again, it's currently has about 83 holdings in this portfolio. So there was mention of they want to get up to about 100 at this moment in time for the next rebalance. So again, the main kind of reasons here was because the kind of infamous plug power, which had the fund accounting errors a few months back, had disastrous effects on this ETF at the time. That's when a lot of people had to jump on the bandwagon here to get in at cheaper costs. And again, it kind of gets out to manipulation as well, because if there's more kind of stocks, there's a higher overall cap or market cap, which means any kind of buying or selling within this ETF won't swing the price too much, which again is the whole point of ETFs, to kind of have a well-balanced approach. So I'm all for that as well. So again, as I mentioned, it kind of has two main tickers, ICLN and INRG, depending on what currency you want to invest in. We can also see here that there's about 443 million shares outstanding. Again, as mentioned about a few seconds ago, there's 83 holdings at this moment in time. So they do want to add in about another 17 over the next few months, which I'm interested to see which stocks they pick. And also we can see over here on the left that they have a distribution yield of about 0.63. So it's interesting to see here the reshuffle after these kind of Plug Power fund accounting errors, where it was in top pole position and is now down in ninth. The top kind of see here that Plug Power is currently about 3.67% of this overall portfolio. At that time it was about 7 or 8, even 10% at one stage I believe. Now at this moment in time, Vista Wind Systems is currently the top dog in this ETF with 7.71% of the overall portfolio. We have Ørsted in second place, and in third we have Enfys Energy. Another reason why I like investing in these style ETFs is because it has a global exposure. It's not just investing in any one particular subsector or one country. We can even see here that the US currently makes up the top exposure here with just under 39% of the portfolio, which again in my opinion is a bit high, but you kind of have to take the kind of size and complexity of the US into consideration as well, and the huge market potential, particularly in these kind of bigger developed countries. We can then see the likes of some European countries in the form of Denmark, Spain and Portugal, and also in second we have the likes of China, and in third Canada. Now, as mentioned earlier, and again it's common sense, everyone's weirdest I believe, is that clean energy has to be the way forward in terms of renewable sources of energy. And we can even see here that I was quite surprised to see, well, Norway was kind of a no-brainer I suppose in terms of one of the world leaders in clean energy consumption, but I was quite surprised to see Brazil on this list, which is nice to see as well, and kind of one of the kind of more underdeveloped countries in comparison to the likes of Norway. And also New Zealand was also kind of no-brainer I guess, in terms of the top 3 countries at this moment in time which use the most renewable energy. As you can also imagine, there's going to be billions upon billions pumped into this sector over the next 5, 10, even 15 years. So this is definitely a kind of longer term investment. It's not a kind of quick buck or quick kind of fix in terms of gaining a quick profit. So you need kind of patience and long term outlooks if you want to invest in these style companies or ETFs. So again, we can see here that even India's power sector is kind of getting into the whole clean energy transition as well. Now, as you kind of already aware, India is a huge country with a huge population. So even that country alone has huge potential to make so much money from the clean energy sector. Another interesting chart here is in terms of consumption, in terms of gigawatts of energy used with over the next 10 years. We can see here in comparison to 2020 and 2030 difference between solar consumption here, which is huge to see even behind my screen here, should I say. So again, it's very interesting in terms of potential going forward in this one country alone. And again, it's kind of the emphasis on one country. The whole global blanket approach will certainly be huge over the next few years within the sector. And in my own personal opinion, and the opinion of a lot of others, again, this isn't financial advice by any stretch of the imagination, but I do believe this sector has so much potential over the next 5 to 10 years. Despite the last month or so, or the past few months in terms of the sector being in a downward trajectory, we can see here that renewable energy investments have reached new heights in the first half of 2021, which now soars to an impressive 174 billion. And we can also see here the highlighted section with the record levels of market investing financing offsetting the decline in renewable energy projects. So again, as a long-term investor, these kind of shorter-term increases or catalysts are huge to making more money long-term. So in terms of my plans going forward for this clean energy ETF, again, as mentioned earlier, we're down about 4% at this moment in time, and it's pretty much overweighted in this sector in my portfolio. So that's why I haven't invested further, and I won't be either for the next few weeks because patience is key. If it does drop further in value, well and good. Again, I was kind of eyeing up the kind of 8 to 10% in the red for me to trigger to buy more of this stock or ETF. But again, if it goes back up in value, well and good. It's a kind of win-win situation either way. But long term, there is huge potential, as you can imagine, for these kind of ETFs, in particular in clean energy. So it'll be very interesting to know in the comment section below what your plans are for this sector. Do you hold any individual stocks within clean energy, or are you going for a more blanket ETF approach like I am? And also how much you have invested within these ETFs, and if you believe they have potential down the line. So thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will see you all in tomorrow's video.